Toronto City Council approves 2025 budget amid protest. Welcome to Regent Park TV. Today we bring you key moments from Toronto City Council's February 11th meeting, where councillors debated and approved the 2025 budget in a 19-5 vote. This year's $18.8 billion operating budget includes a 6.9% property tax increase and major funding for transit, housing, and emergency services, along with a significant increase in the Toronto police budget. For Regent Park and surrounding downtown east communities, this budget has major implications. Investments in transit, affordable housing, and community safety programs are critical to residents, yet the decision to direct more funding to Toronto Police while other services remain underfunded has sparked some frustration. At one point, protesters interrupted the meeting, voicing strong opposition to the police budget increase.
How's the police budget? We oppose the criminalization and policing of the unhoused and poor people in the city.
Throughout the meeting, we heard from Mayor Olivia Chow, Budget Chief Shelley Carroll, and Councillor Chris Moyes, and Councillor Alejandro Bravo, among others, as they defended or challenged the budget's priorities. Here's a look at the debate and the final vote.
For far too long, Toronto has become a harder place to live. We saw for too long people are paying too high rent. For too long, TDC, the subway system breaking down, and kids are going to school hungry, all of those things. When I launched last year's budget this time, I told you about an 8-year-old girl called Ariana from Ukraine, where she has to go to the food bank to look for food. And as I launched this year's budget, we talked about Youssef, who I met, who lives in Thorncliffe, and he was having a real hard time paying rent and being able to also feed his family. These stories and thousands more of these stories show that people are having a hard time, and we need to fix this problem together. We need to rebuild this city together. So you and I know that Toronto is never about giving up. We show our determination. My parents certainly showed the determination by coming to Canada to have a better life for their kid, for their daughters. And at that time, life was a bit more affordable. And through the last year and a half since I've been elected, we've been together looking to create a city that is more affordable, safer, more caring, where everyone belongs. So we have been, for a long time, not building housing. And we're now back in the housing business. Just last June, we approved together, right here, this council, non-profit organization can now build 6,000 units of affordable homes. Okay, cooperatives, all of it, non-profit. And then for the home builders, we agreed in November to cut development charges and property tax so that they now, even though the interest rate is still a bit high, they can build 8,000 more rental homes. And just last Wednesday, we approved thousands of homes that would be affordable forever for our mirror program, our acquisition program. We said that we would prevent landlords to illegally renovate folks by hiring more rent-safe inspectors. Right? We also said we will get people off the cold streets, get them out of the shelter hotels by building more shelters, by increasing funds in tenant support programs, in rent banks, all of that together. Just in the last 12 months, we said we would do, and it's all in this budget. We have also said that we don't want kids to be hungry in the middle of the school day, so we are feeding 24,000 more kids. And at camp, summer camp, we said we would support them also. That's 31,000 kids, because kids need to grow up strong, and healthy. We also said that we want the service to be available, whether it's library, pools, make it easier. These are free services so that they can have a place to go. And we know that since we opened the library more hours, 61% increase of people coming in to use the libraries and many other things. We also said these festivals are really helpful for small businesses. The taste of everything everywhere, whether it's Taste of Lawrence, Taste of Little Italy, Taste of, oh, I don't know, Poland, Ukraine, you name it. It brings out people, gives them a sense of belonging, because Toronto is a lonely place to be, we know that. And so we are supporting artists, the festival organizers. Most of them use their own money. The firefighter, they said they need to get to when you call 911, when we need them most, we need them to have shorter wait times, shorter response time. And we're doing it. We are increasing the numbers, 276 net people, okay? So we're hiring them. We are investing in gang diversion programs, apprenticeships, school activities, etc. And then may not even have time to talk about all the TDC service we're doing, not increasing fares, but increasing services. The biggest capital project ever so we can fix the TTC, especially the subway system, so that it doesn't fall apart. That it doesn't stop and go. It's more reliable. And that's thanks to the new deal with Ontario government, funds from the federal government. We're finally getting 55 new subway cars. We've been talking about that for 6 years. We're getting it. So getting time back, feeling safe again, knowing the city service will be there when we need them most, being able to afford to stay in this city that we love. All Torontonians deserve this. And I ask you to support the 2025 budget that is presented to you so that we could rebuild a city, a stronger city, a more caring city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We do have a question for you, Councillor Holliday.
So, Mayor, I just keep hearing from people that are worried about the instability that's around us. And a 6.9% total tax increase has been felt by many as being unstable. Mayor, why can we not reduce this budget and hold the line and forward the same services that we have last year and decide that this is not the year to make big changes?
There's really not huge changes in this budget. I remember before I became the mayor in 2023, the budget that was approved was higher than this year's budget, and yet it's still, the TDC fares went up and the service got cut. Right now, this budget is fiscally responsible. As you notice, that our credit rating, first time in 2 decades, have gone up to AA+. So that's fiscally responsible. Those are good measure. And there's no huge dramatic increase in here other than a big TTC capital budget and a capital budget. Why? Because the TTC, you see from the service disruption in the subway system, you see the signal problems, the track problems. We have to fix the old infrastructure, the bridges. The more we wait, the longer we wait, the more expensive it is. So as a fiscal conservative, Councillor Holliday, you know that we cannot keep waiting. These bridges that we fixed 3 years ago would have been a lot cheaper than doing it right now, but because of inflation. So we have to fix our old infrastructure, and that's why there's a big capital budget investment.
Yes, there is. But, Mayor, there's a $94 million increase in the operating budget. If we just did what we did last year, we could reduce it by $94 million and take nearly 2% off of the tax increase. Why would we not take that choice, just given the circumstances in the world right now?
Right. I hear you. Now, this year's capital budget, the operating budget, putting aside the building levy, is 5.4%, right? Just putting aside the building levy, because that's TDC and housing, is 5.4. You asked why not 2% less? Because our city is growing. We have to hire more frontline officers, whether they're police, the paramedics, the firefighters. The salary increase that was arbitrated by the police was 5%. That alone is a lot of money. So as the city grows, because we have the largest number of cranes in North America, it's a blessing. And it's a global beacon of hope. People love to come to Toronto. As our city grows, if our service don't grow with it, then what you have seen is the police are saying, and others are saying, hey, when you call 911, you have to wait an extra long time. Last year, because of our investment, it is big, they were able to cut 6 minutes off from the wait times. Imagine if you call 911, you don't have to wait so long. That's important. People expect that. So if we just keep things static because of inflation, because the number of people coming into our city, 35% over 10 years increase, we have to increase the number of people that serve our residents.
So, Mayor, what can you do in this year going forward to contain the tax increases? I'll note the track record of council, and in many cases, including your vote, increase things like wage settlements that were beyond the rate of inflation. A day off for city workers that's a paid day off, reducing productivity. And so these are just increases of pressure up and up and up and up. More things into the student nutrition program, more opening hours on a library, all things that drive up the city's budget. What can you possibly do going forward now to reduce all of that pressure now that it's been committed?
Yes,
That was your last question.
Thank you. That's a very good question. Allow me to answer. The police increase was arbitrated. It's not something that you and I voted for. It's 5%. It's actually lower than Peel, Barrie police, what they got, okay? In terms of percentage increase, that's multi-million dollars. And in this budget, the library hours of school programs, it's in terms of comparing, the top three items we spent, police is 1.2 billion, TDC is 1.1 billion plus, and then shelter and housing, okay? The rest, libraries, parks and rec, very small comparing to those three that I just mentioned. So this year, we switched to bring service in-house, and we were able to save some money. We renegotiated contracts for shelter and technical services. We saved some money. We maximized the use of the city-owned assets. Again, that saved some funds. We reduced the borrowing cost because our credit rating going up. So that saved many thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. So I would assume you would be pleased with that.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, Madam Speaker, there's a lot of magical thinking goes on every budget year. Magical thinking always finds its way out of conservative think tanks and out onto the radio and onto the newspapers, and then it finds its way into this chamber, often as not. It's the old tropes. We hear them every time. Lots of cuts can be made without changing services. No cuts are ever made. These are the kinds of things. Reserves are fund money that the city is just unwilling to spend. Only cutting taxes can ever help business. There are politicians who love to raise taxes. They do it just because they like to. These are tropes that we hear every year at budget time. And if they're being said in community halls, I despair of that type of behavior. Because we all know in this room that that's not true. We, all of us, even the new councillors, because they ask passionately the whole first year, will ask, what about this? What about that? And what they learn is the low-hanging fruit is long gone. If the efficiencies that we've made, 93 million through the line-by-line review, another 240 through the programmatic reviews done with the financial planning team, and then another 41 million in hard permanent efficiencies, all of those get made in tight staff-to-staff exercises because the low-hanging fruit is gone. And so it's sitting down and deliberating, how is this done? Could it be done cheaper? These are difficult, stressful exercises that we are spared. That's why they're hard for us to describe to the community, but it happens every year. And I dare say this year we're going to double down on it, which leads me to what I need to speak in the second half of my speech. For the rest of it, Madam Speaker, I'm only going to speak to the future. We don't know what the future holds. It's already been outlined by my colleagues. We really don't know. We only know about the steel tariff, and we don't even know if that's going to hold. We really don't know, which is why we need to stay the course. What you have before you is a budget that addresses the challenges that the city faces now. It fixes the things that are broken. It makes the city safer. It addresses those people that are in crises, and it does the thing that everyone keeps asking us to do. Can you invest in the things that actually protect the value of my property? I've invested in this city. Now you invest in me. And it means that we collectively have a bill to pay. It means that we all have to pay for property taxes. But we made a promise, and this is what I mean about the future. We said it was an arc. Mayor Tory, in the first year of this term, said we've got to go to 7%. The money we thought we'd be given for COVID hasn't come from the other orders of government. We've got to start to pay the bill. When we went higher in that extraordinary rate the following year, we said, we've got to find a way back down. This had better be an arc. So, Madam Speaker, if that arc is to continue its descent, and it should next year, we have to keep things in mind, that we have a very uncertain future. And I have motions in the next item that will address how we can prepare ourselves to help businesses with their resiliency in that regard. But we have to take into account that there may be a social cost to President Trump's actions that we will have to address in real time. And so we need this budget to do the investing it's doing in a caring way now. We also need to keep the tax structure as it is until we know what the real impacts are. We need to make learned decisions on that, and we cannot at this moment. So if we stay the course and create other forms of resiliency funds, we know that we are doing right by our residents today, and they desperately need us to. Next year, you have to find a way to lower the property tax increase and meet the demands of every single collective bargaining increase that is happening throughout the rest of this year. That's going to place enormous pressure on every one of these divisions.
5 seconds.
Every cluster will struggle to meet that. And if you want a lower rate to go along with that, you need to stay the course and be responsible in your decisions for the rest of this year.
Councillor Bravo to speak.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to start by saying that I feel optimistic today because we're turning around a decade of neglect. Yes, last year was a painful, a very high budget, property tax increase in the budget, but that was just about dealing with the fiscal crisis that was in front of us. This year, we're turning it around, and that means that people are pulling together. We're also turning it around in a way that the public told us they need and want. And the thousands of people that have participated in consultations, the excellent work of the Budget Committee and the Budget Chair, the excellent work of the Public Service, the diligent work of the Public Service to bring us all of the data and information, and the work of the Mayor's Office, all of these people working together to bring us forward what we have here. It's really good stuff here. Improving TTC while freezing fares, expanding library hours, pool hours, and city services, building more homes and doing it faster, helping renters to fight illegal evictions, and really making our city safer with more first responders. And I want to highlight paramedics because that's what is really important in my ward. And I think it's really crucial to say that we're making a budget that's really about making the city safer. And that's on a lot of people's minds right now. We're putting money into what keeps people truly safe. Safe from hunger, safe from homelessness. And that makes all of us safer as a society. I think it's really crucial to remember that we're protecting renters here, renters who are at risk of losing their homes all the time. With the rent bank investments that are going to keep people housed, making sure that people aren't unfairly evicted on the excuse of renovation. And also that we're investing in shelters. And shelters are a first step into a home, but the final solution is, of course, for people to have the kind of home that they need, affordable, and for some people with supports. I think we're also talking about saving an enormous amount of money, because once these social and economic problems are put out in the world, we are talking about emergency health care, we're talking about more expenses in health care, we're talking about very expensive criminal justice system to deal with problems after they start, and not to mention what it means when people are the victims of crime. And we heard today that some of these investments that we're making, from some of my colleagues have raised it, is that when kids are fed, when kids see a future, when they can go to the library, when they can go to the pool when it's hot, when they feel valued, we know we get better outcomes. Decades of studies have shown us that. Why would we not want to solve the problems before they start and show this generation, which sacrificed so significantly during the pandemic, that we have them, we have their backs? It's also really good for the local economy. Unlike the proposal that Councillor Bradford made, which could end up transferring public money into the holdings of one of the richest men on the planet, who's actually actively working with President Trump to undermine democracy through his Amazon corporation, and actually, potentially subsidizing low-wage work. Putting money into TTC is fantastic, because TTC, along with the traffic management work that's being done, is a way to tackle congestion. It's an investment in family household income, in the sense that people can get to work and get to school on time. With TTC fares frozen, we know that they're going to take the transit and get to where they need. And it's also really crucial that we're investing in capital repairs on TTC and in our infrastructure in general. We all know that when we don't repair the roof leaks. Repairing the roof is a lot cheaper than changing the roof. But we're in a situation in some of our infrastructure that the whole structure needs to come down. And that's what that decade of neglect has given us. It's actually a waste of money to not solve problems before they start. I think that we can be proud today that we have done as a city something that is going to lift a lot of people up, and that's thousands of people. I want to remind people that one of the most valued institutions anywhere in Canada is the Toronto Public Library. Opening library hours longer isn't just about providing a transitory service. It's actually a community hub, a place where everybody belongs. So I want to highlight that, because I think that since the majority of people in the city in some way use and are touched by the library, this is a budget that universally lifts people up, and we're going to make sure that for anybody that's struggling, a senior with a property tax, that they're being protected. I think we need to support this for the people of Toronto.
Councillor Moyes to speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I too want to thank our security team for doing such an amazing job here today, protecting all of us here, not only councillors, but our staff and the visitors here today. Myself, along with the budget chief and my colleagues, are on the budget committee, and I can say to you in the last 4 to 5 months, we worked really hard on this budget. And we've gone out far and wide in every part of the city. I was in Etobicoke with Councillor Deputy Mayor Morley and Councillor Perks. We had a few sessions here here as well in this building. And so I think that what we have heard has been well conveyed in this budget. Nobody likes a tax increase. I mean, I'm a property owner myself, and I'm not keen on it myself, but I do understand that we want to maintain the services we have and improve what we have here in the city of Toronto. I can say to you, as a local city council here in Toronto Centre, that one of the chief complaints I have heard from people is traffic. Traffic in the downtown core is madness. But since we introduced the traffic wardens last year, and again an investment in it this year by 100 more traffic wardens, we have seen a significant difference. I also take the transit, and I can say to you that, as we know, we are back up to pre-COVID levels when it comes to transit and beyond. We want to make sure that we have a great transit system. I also know that a lot of middle class and poor people take the transit, and it's the way to get to hospital, to schools, and other places. And I'm really happy that we're able to not increase the transit fares this year. And those are things I've heard directly from my community, because I'm in the weeds probably more often than not. Another issue we have here is affordability, right? We're in a housing crisis as well. And again, I have gone to many ribbon cuttings with the mayor, opening various affordable housing spaces in my ward alone with wraparound services. For example, 65 Dundas Street East, the old Bond Place Hotel. There's over 300 beds in that building, right? You know, with supports. Those are things that are tangible that we continue to do and build on in the city. Another thing I'm really happy about too is that when I was growing up in the city, you know, there's a lot more open fields. I was able to go out, you know, in the morning and run in the fields, you know, and hang out with my friends. The city has changed a lot over the last 20 to 30 years. And young people can't go into the malls as they used to, right? They can't go into certain spaces as they used to. The few spaces that they have other than the recreation facilities, which the city runs very well, in my opinion, is that the library is also a safe space for them to go. Not only for young people, but also for seniors. We know that isolation is a problem. We know that people are depressed, especially after COVID. And they need safe gathering spaces, and the library does that for a lot of people. So again, we've been listening, and I think that is here in the budget. That's conveyed here in the budget. Another thing that's really important to the public, again, just last week when we were here Wednesday, there was actually a shooting death in my ward, in front of Moss Park, by the way, at Sherburne and Dundas. And one of the things that the public have said to me is that they want safer communities. And we're investing in emergency services, the police service, paramedic, and fire. So I think that these are investments in a city that we want to love and we want to play in and we want to live in and have people come and visit. So I am thoroughly going to support this budget because I think that's what we need at this time. Thank you.
Let's put the motions on the screen. We're ready to vote.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit us on all our social media platforms. Please visit our website for more information.